Welcome. This is Tim, your Giant Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about the Daniel Jones situation. Want to talk about the Joe Schoen presser yesterday. His press conference from the bye week. And, you know, the media is trying to, the giant media is trying to spin it. The giant social media is either ripping it apart or basically saying, well, Joe Schoen said everything right. And there's just so many different opinions on reference to what he said and how he said it. And I'm watching it and I'm listening to it. And at one point in time yesterday, we did a live stream, and the Giants actually took the press conference down from their website. I don't know if it's back up again, but they literally took it down from their website. And when you watch it and when you listen to it, Joe Schoen, from day one, I've always said, did not have a command media presence. You could tell he was a first-time general manager 3 years ago by the way he addressed the media, by the way he spoke, by the way he answered questions. And going on 3 years later, he hasn't gotten any better. If anything, he's become a little bit more truculent, a little bit more Belichickian. But the problem is when you're 2-8, and you went from 9-7-1 to 6-11 to 2-8, you have shown a steady regression and not a progression in reference to this team. So your job is on the line, your ass is on the line. Everything that you could possibly imagine in reference to your professional career as a first-time general manager is now on the line. And you come up with some of these gems in reference to certain questions such as, I love this. This is a great one. I love this question, and I love how he answers this question, Joe Schoen. And it's the smugness on his face that just makes you laugh because you're just looking at it and say, Joe, yeah, you went 7-2, then you went 2-5-1, 6-11, and 2-8. You got to just, and like I said, I call him Kamala Joe because, you know, we have to be unburdened by what we have been. We have to be unburdened by that. This is, and I felt bad because the soundboard was screwing up yesterday on the live stream, so you couldn't hear the clips. So I want to play the clips today.
When you look back at just this offseason, do you wish you did anything differently addressing the quarterback position? I mean, I would say specifically Russell Wilson obviously was in here and not pursuing him more aggressively, or just in general, anything you wish you would have done differently?
I mean, you're talking specifically on the quarterback position?
Specifically on the quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no.
I love that answer. You mean the quarterback position? Yeah, specifically the quarterback position? Yeah. No. Okay, this is the same moron that had Russell Wilson come to the Giants first. Russell Wilson only wanted veteran minimum, which is like $1.5 million. Russell Wilson's getting paid by Denver. So he goes to the Giant first. And Joe Schoen, who doesn't want a $45 billion quarterback handing off to a $12 million running back, and this is the year of Daniel Jones, told Russell Wilson, you are not going to be competing for the job. This is Daniel Jones's job. You're coming here to be a backup. Russell Wilson said, fuck you, I'm going to take my ball and go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is 4-2 under Justin Fields. Russell Wilson is injured. He comes back from injury. He's automatically installed as the starter. What has he won 3 games now? So the brilliance of Joe Schoen. Let me check my vote here. Oh, yeah, look, by my sources, Saquon Barkley's going to the Bears. Let's continue.
So where you're at with the quarterback, you think this is the best that could have been this season?
With the options that were available?
Yeah, like Russell Wilson.
I mean, when people are free agents and you go through the process, you do what you do. If it's a good fit, then sometimes they come. If they're not, you can't make them. So
you can't make them. But you could have literally told Russell Wilson, hey, listen, yeah, you can compete with Daniel Jones for the job. You could literally say that. It's okay. Because competition breeds better players. Well, certain players they do. It makes your best come out. Except they're worried about snowflake Daniel Jones folding like a cheap tent.
You know, again, you go through the process of free agency, whether it's any position, and, you know, that's how free agency works. And, you know, players decide where they want to go and what they want to do. But some of that stuff's out of your control.
It's not out of your control, Joe. When you told the free agent he does not have an opportunity to compete for the starting role. Oops. Really, Joe? I mean, sometimes you just dumbfound me with your answers. Sometimes you just make me cringe when you talk. It's your swarminess. It's your used car salesman approach to being the general manager of the Giants. And I love it. We have to hear about how excited he is about the young players.
There have been several players who were on this team that left in free agency and have had substantial success elsewhere. Do you want to reevaluate at all how you decide where the money's allocated in terms of in-house free agents, letting guys go, letting guys walk at all?
Are you talking about me specifically?
Yeah, meaning Giants players who went on elsewhere.
I mean,
You can go Julian, X, Saquon, anything like that.
yeah, I mean, I like Tyler Nubin. He's played well for us. He's one of the only rookies playing 99% of the defensive play time. He's leading rookies in tackles.
How many? I forget. How many interceptions does Xavier McKinney have? 6, 7? Leading a stalwart defense right now in Green Bay. Probably the best safety in the league, and he was only a homegrown talent. But don't worry, we got Tyler Nubin.
So I'm excited about him. Tyrone Tracy, also leading rookies, in terms of rushing. So I'm excited about the young players that we have. And that's the build's tough. It hurts sometimes as you're going through it, but you got to go through it.
The build's tough. But you have no problem dropping $160 million on Daniel Jones, making a trade for a defensive end in Brian Burns when you know you're not a defensive end away, dropping $120 million on him, taking a contract of Darren Waller for $10 million a year when he was 2 years removed from being good, paying Paris Campbell money that no one in the league wanted to pay him. Even Paris Campbell came out and said the Giants were the only ones to give me a contract. Okay, Joe. I could continue. Oh, we let Evan Ingram go, and Evan Ingram last year only has the second most receptions by a tight end in NFL history in a single season.
To get to the other side. And I like the young foundation that we've put in place, whether it's Burns and Dex and Kayvon, and there's some pieces that are going to be in play, Nate.
Burns, Dex, and Kayvon. Burns and Dex. Are they going to be still at the top of their game when the Giants are finally good in 2026, 2027? Are they going to be on their second contract? Just looking at you, Joe, because like I said, we've already talked about the fact that you didn't stagger the contracts of Dexter Lawrence and Andrew Thomas, but we're not going to get into that again.
The rookies I talked about, Theo, there's some young pieces here in place in terms of the foundation.
Theo Johnson gets a catch and everyone creams themselves. I remember when Dane Bellinger, look at him put on all that weight. Look at him put on all that muscles. He's Mark Bavaro 2.0. He's Rambo the second. Yeah, he's Caden Smith.
That we're going to continue to build on. And another year of free agency and another draft, we're not far off.
Not far. You're 2-8. You went 7-2, 2-5-1, 6-11, 2-8. You probably are only going to win 3 games this season, but you're not far off. I love the question about, do you expect to be back next year as a general manager? First, here's the question. He's got to take that big gulp of Joe Schoen water.
You mentioned another year free agency, another draft. Do you expect to be back here, especially if this team doesn't win some games down the stretch?
Yes.
Do you expect to be back? Mm-hmm. Have you been told you definitely will be back?
I communicate with ownership all the time. I know Dave's talks about that continuously each time these questions come up. And we have a really good relationship with ownership, and we communicate constantly with them. And, there's confidence in the plan and where we're headed.
If you go 7-2, then the second part of the season, 2-5-1. Then you go 6-11, and then you win 3. Let's just say, for the sake, you win 4 games. You go 4-12, which would be one of the worst seasons since the 83, 3-12, and 1. Not counting the Joe Judge era. But you expect to be back. If that's the case, and ownership does not look at revamping the general manager position and the head coach, I fucking quit. Because I'm not seeing and I've been saying this since training camp, I'm not seeing what people are seeing. I see a team that is cut and pasted together. I see a team that has a mixture of talent that doesn't blend together, that's not cohesive. I've talked about this before with Shane Bowen. I give Shane Bowen all the credit in the world. When he came here, I was down on the hire because I thought he was going to bring that stupid defense that he ran for almost 5 seasons with the Titans, where he really couldn't cultivate a secondary outside of the 2 years where Jim Schwartz was his mentor. And I thought he was going to take his system and try to make the players adapt to it. But what he did is he saw the players that he had and he kind of adapted his own system. He's still not cultivating talent outside on the corners because he never does. He cultivates more of the safety positions while you're getting what you're getting vis-a-vis Tyler Nubin. But at the end of the day, it's this. At the end of the day, he changed his philosophy, Shane Bowen. He changed his approach. He told you that first meeting, Joe Schoen, what he needed. 2 linebackers and a defensive tackle. What about Brian Burns? And instead, we trade a 2, a 5, and a 7 and give a guy $120 million who is a carbon copy of the guy you drafted going on 3 years ago now. And you hope that Kayvon Thibodeau is going to turn out to be Brian Burns, which is an 8-sack guy. Here's another great. I'd call it Shaneisms.
Last week, I saw a stat last week. I think it was through week 9 of the NFL season. I don't have the updated week 10, but the most one-score games in the history of the NFL. I mean, that's what it is. It's close games. There's parity, and
it's not parity. Your offense can't score because you decided to roll the dice on Daniel Jones and told everyone during Hard Knocks this is Daniel Jones's year.
We're 1-5 in those close games, and we're going to look for solutions and find ways to make plays in critical parts of the game where we can get over the hump when it matters the most. And we're not far off.
What do you think that stat doesn't say that much about the team then? Because if everybody's competitive, every game's competitive. I mean, if you look at it from a bigger picture, you guys are like 5th in point differential, the biggest point differential. So I'm like, being competitive is. I mean,
I would say red zone.
Higher, right?
I would say red zone is important, and we're last in the league in red zone.
But he's missing the point of what the reporter's asking him. He's Kamala-ing it. He is unburdened by what has been.
Okay, so we're moving the ball, we're getting down there, and we get in critical situations, and we're 32nd in red zone. We got to find a way to put the ball in the end zone, and that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it.
Why do you mean you guys are last in the league in scoring? Why do you think you haven't been able to score?
Yeah, that's what we're going to look at this week. I mean, we do it every week. We look at it every week, and again, whether it's execution, it's scheme, it's personnel, whatever it is, we have to figure out. And we believe we have the players in the building to do it.
It's either execution, scheme, or personnel, but he's got the players in the building that they feel can do it. The Humpty Dance is your chance. Do the hump. What the fuck is he talking about?
And it's execution, and it's not one individual.
Execution is brought upon by the players, which are coached by the coaching staff, which are brought in by the general manager.
Each week, it's some guys, maybe we have penalties, or there's a drop, or we fumble, or it's just,
or there's an interception. Or there's a play that Daniel Jones doesn't see somebody wide open, or he holds onto the ball too long, or he fumbles. But we don't want to talk about that. You've done everything in this press conference to stay away from the thought process Daniel Jones is the uno number one problem.
Everybody's got a hand in it, and we just got to figure out how to come out and play a clean game with complementary football. And we've done that. We've won.
You won 2 games. Numbnuts. You've won 2 games. Dumbass. 2 games. Dos. What is it? Eins, zwei. I don't remember what it is in German, but you won 2 games. I love to do. This is the question about Daniel Jones starting status.
How much of a role will Daniel's contract and the injury guarantee play into how much he plays for the rest of the season?
Yeah, we're going to evaluate everything the rest of the week, and the decisions we make will be football decisions.
So that won't be involved in the analysis here?
It will be a football decision. And any decisions we make moving forward as we evaluate the roster and what we're doing for the final 7 games will be football decisions.
It's always about football decisions because we plan on going 7-0. That's what we plan on doing. That's what we're going to do. You are such a numbnuts. I can't stand this man. And let's talk about him talk about what kind of job Brian Dable has done this year.
How would you evaluate Brian right now? Brian Dable.
Yeah, again, we're 2-8. So again, we're going to look at solutions. He's coming in every day. He's working hard. The team is staying together. We had a really good practice today on a bye week, which is the first time we've done that in his 3 years here. And again, he's done a really good job of the guys are competing. Keeping the locker room together. And again, we're in these games. We just got to find a way to finish it. That's 1-5 in one-score games. So, we got to find a way to get over the hump and make plays at critical times of the game, whether it's red zone, third down, or getting off the field on defense, or tackling on punt coverage and not allowing a punt return for a touchdown. Again, there's a lot of
These are all things that bad teams do with young players that are probably not 100% talented enough to be starters in the NFL. There you go, Joe. I broke it down for you. Okay, and we gotta listen. I gotta listen to this clip as well. This one, the clip is asked to evaluate Daniel Jones's play this year. This is great. I love this. Then I've got one other clip that I want to talk about Daniel Jones.
Evaluate Daniel this year, Joe?
Yeah, in general, it's not just, I understand the question and you want to, pull him out, but it's everybody. Everybody's got a hand in this. Again, I know being the quarterback and offense coordinator, head coach, a lot of people like to point to those guys in general.
Because the most important position in sports is the quarterback. And we don't have one. So, yes, you have to pull it out. They always say quarterbacks get too much praise when they win. They get too much blame when they lose. But the problem is this: when you're always losing and it's always the common denominator that it's Daniel Jones after 6 freaking years, what do you think you should do, Joe? Yeah, you need to evaluate him. But we don't want to hurt his little feelings.
Daniel's played some good games, and there's some games where,
Could he point out the good games? Because I must have been sick those days.
maybe like to have some throws back or do things differently. But in general, it's not one individual or, one situation.
The quarterback handles the ball the most in an NFL game. Technically outside the center. The quarterback handles the ball the most. The quarterback is responsible for calling the offensive plays, calling out the mic, the line shifts, the audibles, which we don't do. But he's only responsible for literally everything. But don't worry, Joe. Don't worry. We got this. You got this, Joe. We're not going to evaluate him yet.
That keeps occurring, unfortunately. So whether it's defense is on the field at the end of the game, we've got a chance to close it out, or offense has the ball.
Why is the defensive on the field at the end of the game? Because we keep getting 3 and outs caused of the quarterback.
In a couple of different games, and we could go down and score and close the game out. So again, we're going to look at solutions, and we're going to evaluate everything, like Dave said yesterday, and that's what we'll do moving forward here.
As a season ticket holder, he makes me want to vomit. He literally does. This is the last Joe Schoen clip we're going to play, and I think this kind of sums up Joe Schoen in a nutshell.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out today. Obviously, we're sitting here at 2-8, and not where we want to be. Nobody's happy about it.
Wait. We don't want to be at 2-8. Are you sure? Are you sure that's not where we want to be? I had a double check. I had a double check on that one, Joe.
Dave's, me, coaches, people in the building, the fans, and I understand that. What we're going to do the rest of the week is, do self-evaluation on the roster, personnel, and, try to...
The roster you built, the personnel you brought in, who's self-evaluating you, Joe?
Find solutions as we move forward, these last 7 games. So that's what we'll focus on this week. The guys came in, had a good day of practice today, lifted, had meetings, and we'll start circling up with the coaches tomorrow and the rest of the week.
I'm glad the guys had a good set of practice during the bye week, because you know what? This is the only time we're not going to take a loss.
Can see how we can look to turn the ship as we go forward the rest of the season.
Talked about this before. I have a friend that used to be an admiral, and he was he was an admiral for the 7th Fleet, and he told me once. He says, especially with aircraft carriers, I always ask him questions about aircraft carriers and stuff, because I'm always curious about these big ships. And I said, how quickly can you turn this ship? Like, if you're going south and you all of a sudden need to go north, how fast can you turn that sucker around? And he said, Tim, it's a very slow, arduous process. It's not like, not like you're in a car and you can just turn the wheel and go. You got to, it takes some time to make that turn. So Joe's going to right the ship and turn the ship around, and he's already had 3 years to do it. So we should give him year 4. I mean, this team is a microcosm in stupidity. You quadrupled down on a quarterback. that everyone in the league knew was not talented enough. You brought in a guy that in Brian Dable who had people will talk about all of his success as an offensive coordinator in college, and I keep saying this over and over again. Until Vanderbilt's on our schedule, I'm not worried about what he did in college. I worry about what he did in the pros outside of Josh Allen, and it wasn't that great. You brought in a first-time general manager who basically, yeah, he's been in the league for a while, but really had you looked at him and said he really didn't have a track record outside of Buffalo for doing what he did, and you gave him the keys to the kingdom, and you watched, and like I said, the Hard Knocks thing was the worst thing at all from this Giants team. You watched that, and you were just like, Joe Schoen doesn't listen to anybody. Joe Schoen does what he wants to do because he thinks he is the smartest non-crustable eating motherfucker in the room, and at the end of the day, though, everything stops with him. And everything starts with him. And it just doesn't make sense that the way he talks and the way he speaks, it's just, you've had 3 years to fix this. You've had 3 years to fix the salary cap, and you haven't. You've had 3 years to bring in foundational talent, and you haven't. You have made trades that don't work out. You brought in free agents that don't work out, and a lot of your drafts don't work out. Especially the first one. And everyone will point to this draft. Well, he nailed this draft. Well, everyone thought he nailed the Deonte Banks pick last year as well, and how's that working out? Football is not played just in a microcosm of a single season. A player's career, you hope, expands at least 10 years. So you're going to have their ups and you're going to have their downs, and why someone looks good one year, they may look god-awful the next. But at the end of the day, we have no thought process. We are a rudderless ship right now, and right now, the captain of the SS Titanic, also known as the Giants, we're sinking. The band is playing, and we can't get off this. We can't get off this ride. And as a season ticket holder, I figured out a way to get off the ride, and that's just not to renew for 2025. Because some people have said it best: the only way this organization is going to feel the pain is if people stop going. And I've already made that decision not to renew in 2025. So good job, John Mara. My family's been in and around the Giant organization since 1976. Good job. I would rather spend my money on trips to Green Bay, going to Wisconsin in the winter, than watching the Giants. That's how bad this situation has become. And it's the arrogance, and it's the non-self-awareness that Joe Schoen has that really just makes this situation worse. How many games left in the season we got? 7? Thank God. Thank God the Knicks won last night against the Sixers. I'm trying to get the Knicks podcast up, but we've been doing so many things with the Giants, and we've had so many new partners come in and doing live events and stuff that, like I said, we're gonna get to the Knicks stuff real soon. But again, this is Tim. This is your Giants Strike Talk. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why. That'd be awesome.